Why do I feel like I'm talking so fast in these videos? Hi, lovely humans. I'm Shamaya. It's like papaya, except it's not. And this is Plot Twist Please. Welcome to another mini-sode. How are y'all feeling today? Are you tired? Energized? Are you somewhere in between? I just like to check in on you. It's good to check in on your friends. So you guys, here's my thing. I've been wanting a weighted blanket forever, and I really should just get one. But for some reason, whenever I think about it, I don't do it. Like, I'm never like, oh, let me just do it right now. I'm always like in the middle of something else, and I'm like, clocked it on the to-do list, we'll do it. Sometimes you don't meet your goals. So today, I'm actually here to talk about ASD and sleep. You know how some people joke, I haven't had a good night's sleep since high school. I'm always like, y'all slept in high school? Like you shut your eyelids and then just kept them that way? So those are the questions that I have. But another question that I have is, do you think that autism spectrum disorder has an impact on how you develop sleeping patterns, or even the duration for how long you sleep? Well, my friendly friends, the answer is yes, it does. As someone with ASD, as an autistic person, I can honestly say that sometimes it takes taking extra measures to make sure you're getting that 7 to 9, all right? Okay, yeah, I know. Let's be real, okay? We live in this America. 5 to 7. I do kind of talk about sleep in another video, talking about energy management versus time management, because a lot of the time people will say, or I'll hear just through the ether, you make time for what you want to make time for. And I don't agree. There are only so many hours in the day, and a third of those hours need to be for sleeping. And then another third of those hours are spent at work if you have a 9 to 5. And then what are you supposed to do with the other 8? Well, I guess get ready for work, maybe work out, eat. And then you maybe have 3 hours left. And then what do? Maybe you'll hang out with a friend, or maybe you'll watch a couple TV shows, or maybe you'll do laundry, or even cook, or run some errands, a number of things. And I just don't think that it's super realistic to have those kinds of claims, especially when it comes to people being exhausted, especially when it comes to what we know about time poverty. I talk about time poverty a lot in that other video. Go ahead. I don't know where it is on the screen, but go check it out. Time poverty as it pertains to people of color and communities of color, especially if you have a family. Of course, I don't have a family. I can't speak to that experience, but I have lots of loved ones who do. And there are statistics on it. We're talking about sleep, right? So something common, particularly for preschoolers with ASD, or who are autistic, if you prefer that language, 80% have sleeping problems, have trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up from their slumber. Now, why does this happen? What's the big idea? One of the reasons why this tends to happen among this age group in particular is because there might be a lot of distractions around. Sometimes there's, if you live in a city, which I do, I understand this firsthand. If there are cars outside, if there is a fan going, if there's literal static from the electricity in your apartment or in your home, if there's the buzzing, it makes it hard. If there's a heating system or an air conditioning system and there's those residual sounds, sometimes it can make it hard to fall asleep. If there's no sound, if there's no auditory stimulation, that can make it difficult too. Sometimes pajamas make it hard, and that's because of the sensory sensitivity, because of the tactile sensitivity, or the need for more pressure or maybe less pressure. Again, if you followed me for a while, then you understand that people who are autistic, we have different needs. So not everyone is going to like a weighted blanket, for example. Some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us like silky pajamas. Some of us need to feel the different textures on our bodies. Some of us need that. For me, I have to sleep in the smoothest, this is gonna sound really high maintenance, but I promise it's not, I promise. The silky pajamas, or like the almost completely cotton or the like I believe it's polyester. It's just really soft. It's just really soft. And some of us need that. I need that. That's the thing is I remember one day in particular where I was tossing and turning for like an hour and a half because I needed to change my shirt. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, or sometimes I won't even get to that REM cycle sleep because I'm like wearing a bra. Y'all know how it is. Sometimes people will play music or some sort of audio, a podcast or a YouTube video in the background as they sleep. It can be a real struggle, especially if you're a young child and you don't know how to communicate those needs to your caretaker. It can be incredibly frustrating. The average neurotypical person spends 23% of their time that they're asleep in the REM cycle, whereas neurodivergent people tend to spend 11 to 15% of that time in the REM cycle, which, if you know anything about REM sleep, is the most important part of sleeping. It's the thing that recharges your brain and allows the stuff. If you don't have that, especially if you don't have that as frequently as your neurotypical counterparts, that can set you back. Not only can it make it extremely difficult to operate on the daily basis, it can make it difficult to concentrate in school or at your workplace or whatever tasks you have for that day. It can make you more fatigued throughout the day. It can make you more irritable than you would be otherwise. It can increase your sensory sensitivities throughout the day. It can also increase the need for sensory input throughout the day. Along with that, it can also be the cause of too much sensory input, as I've explained. But what I mean by that is sometimes what autistic people will do is they'll chew their nails until they fall asleep, or they'll stay awake and like pick at something because that repetitive movement is a stim for them, and they'll rely on it to either eventually fall asleep, or it'll actually be the cause of their sleep being prevented. In that vein, it's kind of up to the grown-up, or if you're an adult, and it'll be up to you if you don't have a caretaker to take note of how these behaviors are impacting you. I highly recommend sleep journals. There are these journals that are sold by Bando, but there are also journals that are sold by the Passion Planner company. I have owned 2 of their versions of notebooks, and one of them I use to balance my finances, and the other one I use for daily things like food and water and sleep. I just think that if you are neurodivergent, having that kind of logging system for yourself, whether it's digital or on paper in a notebook or on a chart that you put on your fridge, etc., I just think that it's so useful. Yeah? To have something in front of you that says, I drank water today, or I didn't drink enough water today, or I haven't eaten lunch today. Because you know how it is. Things be happening. Lots be happening. We be trying, but sometimes you need a little bit of help. There is nothing wrong with needing help. Honestly, that's something that I've had to learn. Just accepting that there are things that I need more input on and that I just need to pay closer attention to because it doesn't come naturally to me. I wonder if anybody else has had that kind of hump of understanding that you having extra needs or different needs in terms of capitalism, in terms of society, they are extra needs. Let's not forget that. It is a disability. Like, autism is a disability, and some forms of neurodivergence are disabilities, and we shouldn't ignore that fact. You need help, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stigma is more of a reflection on society's standards than how you should feel about yourself, than your inherent value. I just wanted to point that out because I think that a lot of people can really take these kinds of conversations to heart in a negative way. It's a matter of fact sort of situation. It's like, this is, I do need this. I need these accommodations because the way that I move through the world is a lot different than most people. And I'm wrong with it. How are ways that we can remedy this, right? As either a person who is neurodivergent or who is autistic, or a caretaker of someone who is such. Something that I think is really useful is having wind down time at the end of your day. Now for me, I have recently invested in a dry brush situation. You can take one of those little things you use to paint with, like a paint roller. I'm talking about the ones that you use for preschoolers. But those little rolly paint toys, sometimes it's good to just like roll them on your arm, roll them on your legs, on your neck, on your back. It could even be a lint roller. I feel like you could literally use a brush to brush your body and just dry brush. I highly recommend dry brushing. It really just calms my body down and really makes me feel grounded at the end of a really long day, or a day where I've had to talk to a lot of people, or where I've had to travel a lot, which living in the city can be taxing, my pals. Those are things you can find around the house or you can purchase them, but mostly I'm gonna talk about things you can find around the house. Your fists, you can roll up and down. You can also do this sort of patting around your body gently. That just kind of lets your body know you are one with your body. I know that sounds really meta, but it really works. It really helps you go to sleep. You can massage your back, you can massage your neck. I like to massage my jaw because I have a speaking, singing profession. I sometimes like to massage my thighs. You can use this part of your hand. Also use essential oils to spray, to put on your body after you shower or whatnot. I've also found it useful to just yawn. Even if it isn't coming naturally, it's kind of a reminder to your brain that it's time to go to bed. Also drinking tea, specifically either mint tea or chamomile. Love me some chamomile tea. You could light a candle. Also, steaming helps too. I have a steamer. I can show you. This is my steamer. I put it right up to my face and I say, hey girl. And honestly, it relaxes me and I'm ready to just snuggle it up. So those are the tips I have for you. That is that on sleep deprivation and ASD. I really hope that these tools were useful for you and that this insight is something that's going to be fruitful for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Join the Patreon if you wanna, donate if you wanna, and like and share if you wanna. And lastly, stay weird, y'all. Bye. Mwah.